It's pretty rare that you can claim a movie is absolutely perfect. Sometimes even our most beloved movies can contain scenes that for one reason or another just don't seem to gel with the rest of the film. These are the scenes where you take a bathroom break, fast forward, or just sit there wondering what the filmmakers were thinking. You've seen our 10 amazing scenes in terrible movies, now here's 10 awful scenes in amazing movies.
The circle is now complete.
The Breakfast Club. Considered by many to be one of the best high school films of all time, 1985's The Breakfast Club was marketed as a realistic look at the lives of teens in the 80s. In one scene, several of the characters get high in the library, but the pot has a strange effect on Emilio Estevez's jock character, who for some reason decides to hotbox a room on his own before going into a high-energy dance, complete with gymnastics and shadowboxing. He caps this odd sequence off by shattering a window with his powerful scream. I'll have what he's having. Django Unchained. By the third act of Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, several of the film's main characters have been killed off, and you expect the former slave's final revenge to be imminent. Instead, a narrative detour is taken to make room for the director's worst cameo to date. Taking Django away from Candyland not only stops the film's action dead in its tracks, but also contains a highly questionable Australian accent from Tarantino, who should have left this sequence on the cutting room floor.
You be damn Blackie, we're not bandits.
Interstellar. Christopher Nolan's sci-fi epic prided itself in being more science than fiction, but one of the film's key emotional moments contained a bit too much whimsy for most viewers. Dr. Brand's speech about love transcending time and space seemed a little out of place in this largely cerebral thriller and rubbed a lot of audiences the wrong way. Ultimately, the speech didn't really contradict the film's themes, but its writing was a little too on the nose for most of us to stomach.
Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
Star Wars. In 1977, audiences didn't yet know the full history of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, nor had they ever seen a lightsaber duel. So when the two faced off, there was very little in the way of expectations to be met. Looking back at the blockbuster classic, this fight does not hold up. It seems stiff, lifeless, and completely lacking in the action and emotion that even the following film, The Empire Strikes Back, was able to achieve with its lightsaber duel between Vader and Luke. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. In the first Lord of the Rings film, the hobbits had their own little adventure before the Fellowship had even formed. While on Weathertop, Frodo receives a wound from a ring wraith that almost kills him. When he comes to in Rivendell, he believes his journey has come to an end. Peter Jackson treats it like an epilogue, one that will later be echoed in Return of the King. The hobbits have a gleeful reunion and talk of going back to the Shire, but with 2.5 movies remaining, we know their journey is just beginning, and watching them celebrate feels as redundant as a second breakfast. The Master. P.T. Anderson's last few films have been anything but straightforward. The director likes to challenge his audiences with complicated characters behaving strangely. The Master depicts the unlikely friendship between a troubled World War II veteran and the leader of a new religious movement. The dialogue in their final meeting has all the meaning of a nonsensical dream and concludes with the Master inexplicably singing lyrics to the jazz standard, "I'd like to get you on a slow boat to China."
On a slow boat to China.
Ambiguity is one thing, but this is just confusing. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. The trend of breaking up popular franchise conclusions into 2 parts can often result in some pretty blatant filler scenes. Maybe the best example of this is Harry and Hermione's awkward dance in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. It's a grim point in the film for the characters, and this is Harry's attempt to lighten the mood. But Harry's goofy dance moves paired with Nick Cave's brooding music make for a strange and uncomfortable moment. Clearly, Hermione doesn't know how to react to this either. Thanks for the grade 8 dance flashback, Harry. Drive. Despite its art film proclivities, most of Drive follows a somewhat rational logic that seems to go out the window when the driver sets his sights on Nino, the despicable gangster played by Ron Perlman. For no apparent reason, the driver dons a creepy mask and stares at Nino through the window of a crowded restaurant for an extended period of time, as if he were a character in a horror film. He doesn't enter, but instead walks back to his car so he can use it to ram Nino's off a cliff. Still masked, the driver confronts his bloodied victim on the beach and stares him down for a few moments before Nino decides to help him finish the job by running into the ocean where he can easily be drowned by the driver. Thanks for not making this weird, Nino. Gangs of New York. Martin Scorsese's 2002 flick attempted to depict gang warfare as it was in mid-19th century New York. The opening sequence sees Bill the Butcher's gang face off against Priest Valen's gang of Irish immigrants, and begins with promise as we feel we're in the competent hands of a master filmmaker. Then, all of a sudden, the character known as Hellcat Maggie literally flies through the air, pounces on a victim, and bites off his ear. At this point, the scene becomes something else entirely. The music changes to a synthy modern rock soundtrack, and what follows looks like a man who gave us Raging Bull decided to let his teenage nephew direct for a day. It was an odd choice to begin a film that would contain no further scenes shot, edited, or scored using this style. It looks more like an ultra-violent music video than a feature film. Captain America: Winter Soldier. Captain America: Winter Soldier is one of the highest-rated Marvel movies to date. One of the reasons for this was the plot's many twists and turns. One red herring involved Nick Fury faking his death. Just so there's no doubt left in the audience's mind, we're made to witness several minutes of characters wordlessly watching doctors try to revive him. They even ran out of reaction shots and felt it necessary to include one where Black Widow is clearly speaking, but her dialogue has been cut out. Once he's been pronounced dead, Black Widow decides she needs an even closer look, to poke him and make sure he's not faking it. So what did you think of our 10 awful scenes in amazing movies? Did we leave any out? Be sure to let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Screen Rant videos like this one.